Free, and I admit everybody.
Hi there. Welcome today to our walkthrough.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Welcome.
So many people are joining right now, so let's give them like maybe 30 more seconds.
So good you made it today. We're very excited. So you made it. Shall we start then, guys?
I'd say so. There are still people joining, but let's start. Yeah.
Welcome, legal professionals from all over the world. We at the Legal Model feel overwhelmed by all the attention, heads-ups, and calls since our launch only 2 weeks ago. It made us see the gap is not technological, it's human. When in our strategy calls with general counsels and heads of legals, we hear this all the time. They say we're piloting another AI tool again, but we don't need a tool, we need structure, we need help to work with it. So next slide, please, Chris. And at the Legal Model, we understand that transformation is difficult, especially for you, for legal professionals. Up until now, it was not just in my DNA to try and play. We are here to help you get started and to build your own beautiful legal workflows. Chris will take over after this, but if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we try to handle them in our walkthrough or at the end. Chris, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you. So Yannick, you will let people in.
I will bring everyone in, yeah.
Let's jump in. So before we start, today is a walkthrough, right? So before we jump into Claude, there are some fundamental things I want to just mention that I believe everybody should see it like that are like core legal model beliefs. First is AI is a foundational technology. It's infrastructure. It's not a tool. The other one is all the legal AI tools that everybody in legal is going to be pitched by, right? Every time, Harvey, Legora, Legal Mike, all of those, they are all using the same foundational models under the hood. And understanding those foundational models, one of those is Claude, is mandatory, and we call this AI literacy. And all this summed up for everybody, AI use cases expire, tools expire, but capabilities that we build within humans, they scale. So that was for individual levels, right? And for the organizational level, we have also some core beliefs. First one is integrating AI into an organization is not a technical challenge. It's a transformational one. So it's change management. The tech is easy. You are talking to it. Then the second one is you should handle AI as foundational technology, so everybody has access by default. Everybody needs a frontier model. If your people don't have access to a frontier model, it's like they have no access to electricity or the internet. The third one is you cannot delegate AI to IT, not to AI task force, nor to somebody else. We always start with the leadership team because it's such a huge transformation that there's no way around that. The fourth one is one of my favorites. Every department, every law firm I could see in the last years is sitting on a mountain of proto AI infrastructure. Like every lawyer has already templates, workflows, a small library of examples, and this is just waiting to be connected to AI. And the last one is very important for us. When we do this with big organizations, we say, hey, you need to honor the fear. You cannot tell people everything is figured out. We know what will happen. because this technological revolution is happening so fast, so disruptive. It's globally distributed in an instant that the truth is we are also buried. So let's honor that, and then everybody has the same feeling. Okay, we are in this together. Yeah. So before we go into Claude, some fundamental AI literacy, like micro crash course, right? What we are talking here about is generative AI. This is a non-deterministic idea machine. It works differently than every other tool, every other software we are using. It's true co-intelligence. And the human job here is to verify, to evaluate, to curate, to set intentions, and to contextualize. There's still a lot of work for humans. The like fundamental point that we kind of it's a precondition that you can follow the rest in a good way is there are models that think and models that don't think. So you need to understand what is a reasoning model and what is a non-reasoning model. Reasoning models pause, think, they strategize, they check their own work, and there's really no reason to use a non-reasoning model like ChatGPT Instant or Claude Haiku or something for legal work. The third one, you need to know what a context window is. That's how much can AI, can this digital mind hold? How much can we put in there? And when you start working really with AI, that is like 90% the time you think about that. Context management. How do I squeeze all my informations in there? Which one does the AI need or not? And just to give you a comparison, right? The model we will use today, Opus, has a context window of 1 million token, which is roughly 3,000 pages. And if people use ChatGPT for free, it's 25 pages. And the model starts hallucinating and forgetting stuff from the 26th page onward. Yeah, and the last core concept for today before we go into Claude is nobody's prompting. We don't write our prompts. You don't need to learn prompt engineering. That is 2 years ago. AIs help us to use AIs. We use the AIs to write prompts, to write skills, to write code. What you need is your professional judgment and bring your expertise, your judgment, your context into an AI-friendly format. We show you today how this goes. And one more point, everybody's worried about data science and how do we do this? It's a data Armageddon, and we can tell you it's all solved. For Claude, it's all there. No model training, all the certifications and ISO norms you can wish for. You can make it GDPR compliant. You can even connect it only through hosts in the EU. And then if you combine this with your own policies and classification guardrails, it's as safe as Outlook or any other web tool you're using. So data is not an excuse to not roll out a frontier model. And today we're going to use Claude, Opus 4.6. There are 3 models in Claude. We are using the best one. There's a context window, as I said, of 1 million tokens, which is 3,000 pages. This model can at the same time in one conversation. And the key features in Claude, why we love this right now the most, are Cowork, skills, project, deep research, Claude Code. It can really work well with Excel and PowerPoint, has built-in visualizations, and this might change. The next webinar, we might say, hey, right now we are using Gemini the most, and do not fall in love with Claude, please. We are totally model agnostic. We are switching constantly. The last model was Gemini. Before that was GPT. Now it's Claude. Let's see what it will be next month. And with that, I hand over to Yannick, who's going to show you how to start with Claude. And there's still people coming in. So I continue letting people in.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Yeah, people still come in and I hear a ping every time someone joins. So if you can take over, yes, please. Yes, for today, we will guide you, give a walkthrough with 3 demos. And for the demos, we came up with a fictional company called Titan Life Medical, or TLM for short. It is based in the UK, and in this fictional situation, we receive a software as a service contract from a counterparty, and in a few demos, we will show you what could be the first step, how you can take a second step, take it further to a project, and in the third demo, we will show Cowork as well. I will now share my screen, and I hope you all can see the main screen of where you open Claude. Please confirm, Chris, if you...
Yeah.
Okay, cool, double check. So it says, good afternoon, Yannick, and over here you can see how you can start a chat. So you can start chatting over here, and of course, if you see my cursor over here, you can see the model that it used for the chat. For now, we have selected the reasoning model Opus 4.6. It's the latest model. And if you want to include a contract, for example, so we received a contract from a counterparty, you can drag it in the chat, or you can click the plus and then add it as a file. These are the starting points, and I hope you all have made these before. I've prepared this progress. So for the first demo, I uploaded the Nova CRM software as a service agreement, and my first prompt, yes, it is not the best prompt, but this is to show. I said, please review this software as a service agreement. I'm a subscriber of Titan Life Medical. What are the key risks and issues I should be aware of? This is very basic, but what you can see where we are now at Claude 4.6, the Opus model, is that it already does a very good job. So it opens with, Yannick, I've gone through the full Nova SaaS agreement. This is a heavily provider-friendly contract. Below are the key risks and issues from the subscriber's perspective, roughly ordered from most to least critical. Well, thank you very much, Claude. I will scroll down a bit. This is all very basic. It does a good job. I go to the bottom. It gives me a summary. We take it to the next step. So I say, okay, thanks. For our company, IP and termination clauses are of big importance, so take note of that. Maybe the follow-up question could be, could you draft a memo I can share with the board? I want you to open with a short summary and next steps. So here I provide a bit of context and what kind of output I'm looking for. I want you to write without using legalese, not informal, but brief sentences and paragraphs, pragmatic, please. So something I should have done or could have done in the first prompt, I'm doing now over here. And some of you might already think, hey, you forgot to give it a role. Yes, indeed, I did not do that. So I ask it, it starts thinking, I'll get the memo drafted. Okay, let me build a memo. A few notes on what I included, and then in the end, it gives a memo in a docx file. I open it now here to the right. What you can see is already a bit better than the first output. It opened with a summary. It has recommended steps. So it does already a bit better than the original output, just based on the follow-up questions I did. I follow up with, that looks okay. And now this is where the magic starts happening. So if you know, you can just open a chat, upload a contract, or ask it to do an analysis on a contract. Now I went into a certain progress. I asked it, can you start with a summary, or can you, the tone of voice should be something like this. Now, if I want Claude to remember how I approach doing an analysis, I wanted to remember for next time. So my question now is, that looks okay. Could you make a .md file that is a markdown file that is the output Claude gives most of the time? Could you make me a .md file for me with my wishes and instructions for a board memo? So for the next time we receive a certain agreement or contract, I can use it again. Do you understand what I mean? Yes, clear, you want a reusable brief. You can add me or any reviewer next time, so you don't have to re-explain. And then it wrote me, and that's what Chris said, we do not do the prompting ourselves anymore. We let it do the prompting for us. So the output from this is that it wrote, it created a document. This is especially now on a software as a service agreement, but it gives you an idea how to make a certain document. This is an instruction I can save, and the next time I receive a contract, that could be a software as a service agreement, I can insert this document as a starting prompt to help me doing the analysis the way I want it. If I take this to the next step, so this is only one chat, one question, and I gave you the idea of that this document can be created. Let me take you to the next step, and that is demo 2, where I show what projects are. So my cursor is here on the left. You can start a new chat, you can search, and over here is projects. If I click projects, it shows the project screen, and on the top right corner, there's a black button where you can create your own projects. For today, for this webinar, I created a project already. It is for the TLM webinar, the Contract Review Assistant. And this is actually where the magic starts happening for me. What I did is I uploaded a few files in this project. And I just showed you how I created a markdown file, or the file where it has like a prompt for me. In this case, I uploaded 6 documents, and I will show you a few. So it says start here, contract review playbook. How does that look? For this fictional company, the head of legal is Emma Walsh. So I'm not head of legal, but the fictional company has Emma Walsh as head of legal, who's the owner of this contract review playbook. Start with a role. We ask as a company, what kind of role I want the chat to have, or Claude to have, how to review a contract. And so you see, this is quite already an extensive document, but writing what the review playbook should be. So the steps I want it to take when I ask it, follow the playbook. It's about the role, it's about how to review, it's about how I want the output to be. Let me show you the second document. It's the review framework about.
Yeah, Nick, can you
Yes.
maybe explain how you can how do you make such an MD file? Just very short. How did you end up with those?
How did I end up with? So maybe again one step back. Then I asked it in this first chat. I went back and forth with the chat, so I uploaded the document, and then I started the chat. I said, okay, what I would like, for example, is I want a pragmatic approach, or I want short sentences as output, or when I brief the board of my company, I want you to take this tone of voice, or when I write an email to external parties like the counterparty, I want you to do this, or I add to it a certain template we use internally with internal guidelines. So while chatting with it, I asked it at the latest step, okay, now you know all my input. Can you write me a prompt, or like an MD file, a markdown file, that I can use at a later time, again, in a similar situation? That's how. So you have to see the MD file is the markdown file. That is the files Claude creates. We also know .doc files for Microsoft documents or PDF, but Claude works in markdown files. So I hope that is a bit clearer now. Going back to the 6 documents I uploaded in the projects, This is the second one, the review framework. And if you think, okay, this is really extensive, how did you get here? I got here just by doing what I just told you. So uploading your company templates or guidelines. And this is also where your own expertise comes in. If you have been a legal professional, a legal counsel, a lawyer for 20 years, you know how you communicate with your internal colleagues, or you know what works best for you. You also know how you want to apply internal guidelines or rules or a certain tone of voice. And yes, it takes some time to set this up, but it will work for you. So it has a start here, playbook, a review framework with red flags document, a tone of voice guidelines document. Over here, it says what is our company tone of voice, for example, that we can see here. The TLM legal communicates with clarity, confidence, and commercial awareness. Over here, it says, for example, if the audience is the legal team, that will be Emma Walsh and her colleague James. What you have to do, use section references, for example, or compare to our standards, or don't explain basic concepts. So what works well also is giving examples of what you want and what you do not want. If you scroll down, if the audience is the counterparty. So this is a whole document where we have written, just as an example, this is all fictional, but it could be like this, how the tone of voice should be in the output that Claude provides you. Created an output template on different kinds of outputs. So it could be a memo, or it could be a visual, it could be a draft email to the counterparty. What I also really like is to insert a quality assurance checklist. So it is a reasoning model and it is very smart, but please check your own output before you give it to me. And I will show you later how that will look and how efficient that is. This is an example of the document. We will not go into the details, so if you try to read it all, do not do that. This is just to show the flow. And what I also like, I added a document, so the output is also given in a visual overview. Because yes, we are legal professionals and we like text, but sometimes a visual overview just adds a bit of value to the total picture. So I did the same as I did before in the first demo, but now I started a chat in here. So in this project, where all these documents are, I started a chat and I added the contract again, the same as in the demo one. So the software as a service contract, but I preloaded it. So we don't have to wait for the output. That is what you see in this screen. Over here, you see again the Nova CRM agreement. And my prompt is, please review this software as a service agreement. We are Titan Life Medical. Conduct a review following the playbook. Then the chat knows that it has to start with reading the playbook document. And what I would like to show you is the difference between this output and the output we have seen in demo one. I asked the same thing.
Yannick,
Yes.
1 moment. You talk about playbook. Is that the 6 documents you put in? That's your playbook?
Yes, that's
Okay.
good to mention. That is the name I have given to it. I like the word playbook. It's actually just follow these rules. It's not something Claude suggests as a name, but I like the word, so I use playbook. So I know that it has to follow certain steps. So yeah, that is the playbook of Titan Life Medical and the playbook that I inserted in the project. What you will see, so I asked it to open with a bit of an executive summary. What are we looking at? So a deal snapshot. So what is the contract value? We are an English company based in England, but what is the governing law of this contract? Overall posture, vendor sided. And then per issue, it flagged. I will show you only the first for a bit. It shows us, based on what we have put in the playbook documents, what we would like to see, it shows us in this chat. So what is wrong with this contract or this clause? What is the impact on TLM? What is the impact on our company? What is the negotiation position? So our preferred position is this. How does it know our preferred position? Because that is in the documents in this project. So if you have internal templates or guidelines, or you have agreed with the business how to react to certain clauses, you can put it in one of these files, put it in the project, and it will read through and it will check against these documents. So this is our preferred position. This is an acceptable compromise, or there's a walkaway line. Just to show you how this differs from the first output. So the project is already where the magic is happening. I will not show you all the issues, but I will scroll down to the recommended approach and the next steps. Recommended approach. So the overall assessment, this is a heavily vendor-sided contract with 3 serious issues. Yes, but the deal is worth pursuing if we can negotiate the core commercial and data terms. The SLA and warranty provisions are strong, which suggests Nova CRM is operationally competent. Okay, they just draft aggressive legal terms. Thanks, Claude. I also thought the same, but we're in the same line. I asked it in the project documents also to give a suggested timeline. This is good for your own team, but also if you want to align with the board, for example. So it has a suggested timeline in 4 weeks. Who needs to be involved? What can I do next? What here at the bottom, and what would be shown normally immediately, is the visual overview I had asked for also in the project. So there was one of the 6 documents. I told you I would like sometimes also a visual overview next to the text. That is what you're seeing here on the right. I just opened this here. It gives me just a visual overview. Sometimes I like to see that as next to the text. We'll close it for now. What I can do next, it says latest in the chat. And this is also what we have drafted, of course, in the document. So I asked it to follow it up with these questions. A, it can draft a negotiation memo to send to the counterparty. B, it can create a board briefing, a visual summary for the board. C, it can show the full clause-by-clause analysis. Or D, do a deep dive. And it says, tell me which one. I responded with A and B, please, but start with B. So a board briefing, a visual summary, and then the negotiation memo. Okay, thinking and working, both deliverables are ready. A few things to flag before you send. Thank you, Claude. And I actually want to show you the board briefing. This is how the board briefing now looks. It's just a recommendation, a bit similar to the visual overview. And we don't only want to share, of course, what's in it, but also what our next steps will be. So what needs to change? The financial protection is far too low. Our ask is raise their cap to 1 year of fees, etc., etc. So if you want to send to the board not only the data and the facts, but think with them. Could be like this. What's working well? Our plan. So this is what the legal plan is for the coming weeks. So the board knows what we're doing, always important, and what we need from you. just a solid, quick overview we can share with the board. And of course, the negotiation memo in Microsoft Doc format. Just very simple and plain. Of course, I will always go over the output myself, but I find like last month, the latest models have gotten so good that I rarely have to adjust anything if I make the first steps and my prompts and the first documents well enough and in line with our requirements. So I just told you that I also would like to do a quality assurance, but that it checks itself. And then I discovered that, hey, I just noticed you have not shown me the quality assurance check. Did you do that with my first prompt? If so, could you show me the checks? Very human, we're only human after all. I went back to the documents I uploaded in the project, and I saw that, yes, I asked for an assurance check, but nowhere in the documents I asked it to show me them in the chat. So always important, but here it is for how it shows the quality assurance. And I think roughly it has like 20 checks. So for completeness, over here it says a missing document is flagged. So it missed the first time in its output. Claude missed one thing. On accuracy, it was very accurate. Calibration, actionability, and TLM specific checks. So for our company. And another approval threshold noted, flagged as tier 3. However, I estimated, etc., etc. So by building in this double check, I only make sure that, okay, this chat or Claude gives me an output, and although I trust it quite well, I wanted to do a check on itself. So nice tip to maybe include this also in your documents. Final check, would Emma be comfortable presenting this to Dr. Liu as a complete brief? Yes, with 2 minor fixes. Okay, thanks. I think this is the end of the second demo. I talked a lot. I will give it over to Chris again.
Thank you.
Yannick.
So I watched a little bit the chat, and there was a lot of questions. Will we share this video afterwards? And the answer is we don't know yet. So follow us on LinkedIn, and we might share this video later on, but we definitely will share some insight. And people are also asking, will you share your MD files, Yannick, right? So I would also say towards the end, you get our contacts, write us an email, and then those MD files are examples, demos we built for this case, but we can share them with you. And but you know those are demos, right? The whole point about what we are showing you today is, because people also ask, why are they not using skills within Claude? And I will show you in a second what a skill is. We are not using them because they are generic, right? Some random person at Anthropic, the company behind Claude, built a skill for writing contracts. But you need a skill that fits to your company. That's why we write them ourselves. And there were many questions about what is with data securities. A lot of people, there are still people joining, a lot of people ask about that. We did this quickly in the beginning, so let me share this one more time. Do you see the data slide? Yes.
Yes.
So the short, we've been involved in integrating AI. So we have several companies in that field, in over 100 companies. I can tell you it's solved. Data is solved. It's a solved issue. It's just technology, and it's the same checklist you have for everything else. So just for Claude, you can turn off the model, that the model is trained with your data. If you do this, that makes it the same as your Outlook, any other web tool. You can, it is SOP2 ISO certified. You can make it GDPR compliant if you can sign a DPA with the provider like you do already for Salesforce, for HubSpot, for every company that's running on servers outside the EU. If you are highly regulated, like insurance companies and banks we work with, You can even connect Claude through Azure or through Amazon Bedrock in with residency in the EU. So the short answer to all the questions about what is with data security, yeah, what is with data security? It's solved. How you do it with all the other web tools, the same way you do it with AI. There's nothing magic about it. That is the short version. Take this with you to your company, to your IT. It is used as the biggest excuse in Europe. We cannot do this because our data is so sensitive, and that is simply not true.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, I'm passionate about this because I hear this every day 3 times. Not possible in our company because data. Yeah, not true. So
now we go to demo 3, right?
We go to demo 3. What I opened here is Claude in the desktop app. You see, for me, it's in dark mode, so you have a little bit of a difference in how it looks. And when you have the desktop app of Claude, you have 3 buttons here at the top. You have chat, that's the thing that Yannick used in the web version, and you have Cowork. And Cowork is just magical. That is so fun to use. And let's imagine I work at this company that that Yannick told us about, and I just threw a lot of files into a folder. That is emails about a SaaS agreement, that is follow-up questions, there's the response from the provider we are interested in, there are some DPO requirements, an internal memo. I just throw all the files that belong to my SaaS offer into one folder. And now with Cowork, I can tell it, hey, go into this folder, webinar examples. We are in this. I want you to work in this folder, right? So I give Claude Cowork access to this folder. That is very cool, but also it can do everything in there. It can create files, read files, delete files. So
Chris, can you first, because you're always so fast, can you tell us what is Cowork? What can you use it for? How to address it?
I think I'm going to show you what the difference is. So Cowork is now connected to the folder, and let's say I give it this prompt here. Hi, Emma Walsh here. That's me in our fictional company. I'm the head of legal of Tide Medical. The Nova CRM contract just came in, and I need this ready for Thursday's board meeting. Everything is in the folder. What I just showed you, all the files, every information, I just dumped them in the folder. The contracts, emails, NS data requirement, our vendor policy, the Meridian deal for comparison, our portfolio tracker, all of that. And then say, can you take it from here? I want to walk into that meeting with a clear recommendation and a plan. And now Cowork, in difference to just the chat version, works through this step by step in multiple iterations. It will try thinking about how to do this. Here on the right side, it will create a project plan. So let me start by reviewing everything before I ask any questions, maybe. So it's doing that, and it's working through it until it's done. And it will use skills if it needs any skills. It will create a project plan once it has a clear picture. And I show you how this looks like, because it will take like 3, 4, 5 minutes. I've done this before, of course. So you see here, the same prompt. I connected it to the same folder. And it has, hey, Emma, let me start by reviewing. Okay, let me now read the contract. Okay, I now read everything. This is a substantial deal. Tier 3 is under your policy, and there are some serious red flags in the contract. Let me go to work. Now let me do a deep contract. Everything in one prompt, right? I just dumped all the data in, and it's reading, thinking, reading, doing, thinking. So still, it's just what the model is doing. And then everything's ready, Emma. Here's what I've prepared for Thursday. You've got some recommendations. Here's the biggest red flags. Data protection is the deal breaker. Data residency is also a thing. Liability is absurdly one-sided. No DPA, no audit rights. That's all nice. But here are my deliverables. View your board briefing memo. So wow, it created a board briefing memo for me already just by me dumping all my files into this one folder and telling it, hey, I need everything for my board. And I have this meeting, hey, for this SaaS contract, we have 5 critical things, 8 high things, and some that are medium importance. And then it created a negotiation memo. So, okay, we need to go back to Nova CRM, right? Because there are some really one-sided liability things in there. So here's my negotiation memo. There are some points that are non-negotiable, some points we have strong priority, and some that are desirable but not a deal breaker. And the last thing, because I also asked it, hey, update my portfolio tracker, right? So it updated also an Excel file doing all this. So you asked, what is Cowork exactly, right? Cowork is Claude chat, but with the ability to do multiple steps, multiple tasks in one go. And doing this, it creates, you see this here, right? It creates its own project plan, what it should do. Then it checks, have I done this? Is it correct? And does the next step, it will check, have I done this? And yeah, that's just the beginning. I just connected it to a folder, right? So I just
that was a question. I just saw it coming by. How did you do that? Connect your files, your information.
So I show you multiple ways. There is new task, right? I start a new chat with Cowork, and I can just say, hey, choose a different folder, right? And then I can say, which folder should Claude Cowork work in? And usually it's the best way you create special folders for Cowork, right? But I also could see very quickly some questions here. You can connect it to multiple things. You can connect it to your Google Drive, to your Notion, to Chrome, so it can search in your browser and can do things in your browser. So it opens a special task, a tab in your browser, and you see you can work in your browser, and in a second tab, Claude Cowork is working. You can connect it to virtually everything. So once you've done this, right, and you understood, hey, there's a super smart AI, and it can work multiple through big projects, big tasks for me, right? And it will think about how to break them down and then track its own work and also check how to do this. It's only about, okay, what do I have? What kind of data do I have? How should I connect it? Let's see in this example here what it's doing here, right? So there's the live example, and you see it asks me questions here now, right? So let's say the board memo, negotiation, portfolio updates all appear to be drafted already. Yeah, because I've done it before, right? So review and improve the drafts. Why not? So it even found out, hey, are you kidding me? The things you're asking me for are already in that folder because I prepared the demo, and it asked me, what should I do? It's already there. And I said, please improve it. So there were one other thing about skills, right? Maybe you heard that recently there was quite a crash for legal tech providers on the stock market. Numbers are like between 150 and 250 billion that were lost during that time, all because Claude released something they call a legal plugin. You see, I click here on customize, and there's the button legal. They released this, and this caused this huge losses on the stock market. And when I click on that, you see it's just skills and connectors, and it's basically only the skills here. I click on the skills, and you see, wow, there are some things that are like contract review, legal risk assessment. And if we, let me do it like that, if we go onto contract review, what they did here is they wrote a prompt. This is the prompt. So a skill is nothing else than a prompt and maybe some nice instructions to use some specialized features that Claude has, but it's basically a really good skill. And people asked in the beginning, why don't you use skills? Yeah, why don't we use them? Because they are pre-made, right? Somebody made those skills, but for your company, you have a logic how you do NDA triage. You have a logic and expertise how to do a compliance check. So instead of using those generic things, what we showed you, what Yannick showed you is how you create your own ones with AI and use those. And when you continue this thought, where you end up is, where our clients end up is something like this. You see this here in my folder. That's an example operating. It's a legal TLM legal operating system. And it has some folders, contract management, compliance, data privacy. And I can go in here, and if I go in here, you see again playbooks, right? Start here. This is our playbook for compliance and regulatory tasks. Here's something for data privacy. Corporate governance. Oh, we have some more things, right? We have different categories in here. So let me stop my screen sharing, because I wonder if you have some questions on that. The goal is, right, that you understand, hey, with those models, my task as a lawyer is to bring my expertise in, explain the model, how you do a specific task, have a chat, have a conversation with it. After you've done that, you ask it, can you write this for me into a good prompt, into an MD file, or into a playbook consisting of multiple MD files? And the model will do that and write those files, and you will read them and check them. Do they make sense? Is that what you need? You test them, and then after a while, you see, hey, this works. That's a really good process. So you can share it with your team. And then you do this for one process, and then you start doing it for the next, and the next, and the second, and the third, and you end up with the operating system that is agnostic, right? I've seen here in the chat, there are some ChatGPT fans. I told you, do not fall in love, right? Now it's next time it will be Grok, then it will be Gemini. We are agnostic to tools and models. We want people to understand this is how you build a system. And when you can do this, it doesn't matter which model right now is the best. You just connect the next one, right? And
thank you.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Thank you, Chris. Because it might be nice to address what we are aiming for with you and your legal work. You have all these templates and all these folders and never cleaned up. Maybe I don't know how often you do that. Version 1, 2, 3. But this is an opportunity to play with all this knowledge you have and drop it in some files and start creating your work in a nice way. Your work might be nicer than it was, because you can play around with all this knowledge. So in our opinion, it's not a threat, but a chance to improve your legal job, your profession. How do you look at it, at this, Yannick?
No, agree. Yeah, I was following some of the questions as well. Maybe to address them and to add
Please.
to Chris. So maybe it is repeating a bit what Chris said, but I think it's very important to understand that. So what Claude did with the plugins and the skills, they are more an example of what you can do. It's the same with what I showed in the demo. If you are asking me, like, can I share the files with you? I would love to, but it makes no sense, because I will never look at them again. Why not? Because I made them only for this demo. And you have to make them yourselves. You have to put in a little bit of time, but you have to create your own playbooks and your own templates. And where the value is for you as a legal professional, that is how you approach your work and how you communicate, and your 20, 30, or 5 years of expertise, you want to put that into your playbooks and into your own files. So to me, also, like 3-4 months ago, I had these flows in ChatGPT because that worked best for me. Now I work with Claude because that works best for me at the moment. But start building your own with help from AI. Start a chat and tell it where you want to go. If you are not sure about how you get there, ask it to guide you through the steps. Let it interview you. Like you can ask everything to AI, and I also saw some questions like, would you put your name under this document, or will you send this like directly to the board? Well, I always check the output, but the output got like way better than it was like 3 months ago. And it is, I can't even imagine how the output was 3 years ago. But it got good. And yes, I always check it, but I have to make less adjustments to the output.
And
Maybe
sometimes,
yeah.
sorry. Sometimes people are afraid of sharing their knowledge with AI. You drop it in, where does it go? Can you tell us something about that?
So the fear people often have is the AI learns everything from me, right? And that is the first thing those enterprise companies realize, those AI frontier labs. We need to give everybody the option to turn the model training off. So the deal in the AI world is you use a tool for free. They use everything you do for the training. You pay for it. You can turn off the training of the model. So that was the top point on our data security slides, right? Model training turned off. So your expertise is not going into the model or something. And there was one more question. Yannick kind of answered it, but I wanted also answer because I hear this also very, very often. People say something like, okay, if I have to check everything, I'm not saving any time. And that's, of course, not true, right? If you write the contract, if you create the board summary in minutes, and then you just need to check it, you are saving huge amount of time. And then the other thing I want to also repeat that Yannick said is, it's really not only about speed. Speed you get for free when you start working with AI. Then it's about what can you do that would have been impossible before, and how can this change? What we see in legal departments is they are building systems for themselves, then systems for the other departments. So they empower other departments to do part of the work, and they transform themselves from being a cost center that's always behind, nobody loves to talk to them, they're always blocking the deals, to move into being a value center, right? Oh, look, our legal team is thinking ahead. They are ahead of what their work. They create those systems for us that help everybody. And yeah, I think that's the vision.
That's right, Chris. That's what I hear also. And what the nice part is, when I talk to these general counsels, they can, if they understand the system which they built for their legal department together with the legal team, they can invent it for the work that's done there. So they invent their own workflows based on the real life work in the legal department. So they're not doing general things. They solve their own work and make it nicer, because of course they keep the work they would like, or they only do the high-end checkup. So it in my view, it's an improvement of your sometimes boring legal job. And my approach, or the legal model approach, would be permit yourself to start playing and be creative, even though you do a little folder with a little contract or a one-page NDA, but start exercising the AI yourself. Start educating yourself. That's what I want to say.
Thank you.
We have 7 minutes. Can we do some last questions?
Yes. There are some more questions. Some people ask, what do you mean by model agnostic? And I want to, because that is such a core point. Let me explain this again. So instead of falling in love with one model and using all the features here and building my projects maybe here within the model, right? And building skills that might be locked in the model, or you work in ChatGPT and you build an army of custom GPTs. We recommend people build this outside of the model, right? Build your skill files like here on do the same you do for building a project or a custom GPT, but put it in a file and store it on your Google Drive. and connect this part of your drive to your frontier model. And that means model agnostic. The infrastructure layer, the operating system moves out of the model. We want to have full control over it. It should follow our logic, our structure, be super transparent. And then the one colleague loves ChatGPT the most, the other colleague loves Claude. Then yeah, use the model you want to use, right? Because the models are constantly racing, and this month is maybe ChatGPT is on some benchmarks now the best model. In 2 months it will be a different one, and we don't want to be locked into it, and even less into a legal AI tool. We haven't talked too much about that, but we, like almost all our clients, have the same situation. They have Copilot rolled out, they have legal tools in piloting, or they bought Harvey or Legal Mike or something like that. And what we see is when you train a legal department to use Harvey or Legora, they learn to click buttons and click the right buttons in Harvey and in the tool. What they don't learn is the underlying technology, the different way of thinking. And again, you are locked in and you are using templates and workflows that somebody else invented. So what you need to do is really zoom out, start understanding how this works, first principle, AI literacy, AI fluency, all those things. And then you will see legal professionals develop into kind of legal solution architects or something like that. And I think with that, we are coming to an end.
Yes.
So we have some, please.
No, yes, please go ahead.
we have some, if you want to continue your journey, we have 3 concrete things for you. One is we have our last legal AI course. That's an intensive one. It starts in person in Amsterdam. We have 12 seats left, and it starts in mid of April, April the 15th. It's the last time we do this because we are quite overwhelmed by the resonance we receive as legal model. So we will stop doing those in-person things.
In our beautiful garden house at the canal.
Yeah, in the beautiful garden house. We love that, and we will miss it. And the next thing is we have an online sprint. So that is for individual lawyers, for small teams, a 4-week sprint. And you will build your own operating system during that time. We will guide people from first AI literacy, understanding the models. We will do live building sessions. So you get your assignment, you get a little bit of pressure to really build your workflows and transfer them into this format we just showed you. And then
you can find the link to subscribe under the event on LinkedIn, right?
Yes, and we can also put it in the chat here, maybe even. I think Yannick will do that.
Yeah, I will do.
And for the next 48 hours, you have 50% off for the sprint. And then the core of what we do is we help organizations doing that. So we are focused on where it's the hardest, big organizations, big departments, big law firms, and helping them to change the way they work, right? To start this transformation. So if you are a general counsel, if you see this is needed in your company, please book a free strategy call. That is the core of what we do. We want to help organizations doing this because the tech is not the problem, we told you, right? Then making people changing workflows, changing how an organization works.
And in the strategy call, Chris and me will zoom in on maybe the last slide also, Chris. Or in the strategy call, Chris and me will zoom in on the needs of your department. So we really try to make it measurement. Thank you so much for being here with us today. It was exciting also for us to see all this interest. We love doing this for you. We hope you start tomorrow, or more preferably in an hour, to do something, to make your first act. And please follow us, and happy to see you next time. I think we do this again, right, Yannick, Chris?
Yes,
we'll do. Yeah, we'll.
Thank you very much.
So reach out. Want to hear from you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.